Hey YouTube, bored under quarantine. Been a while since I did a video. Today I'm going to do something a little different. We're going to cook some drunken noodles. My wife is a huge fan of Thai food, so am I. We both like spicy food, and I figured instead of going out and buying it all the time, let me take a shot at making it myself. So I'm following a recipe by a chef named Jet Tila. I've made some modifications to it to our own taste over the few dozen times I've cooked it, and it's kind of right where I like it to be. So I'm going to kind of go ahead and share my technique, the equipment I use, the ingredients I use, and kind of walk you through it if you're looking at doing it, because all the chefs on YouTube, they're in professional kitchens and they have professional woks and high BTU burners and all of that stuff. So the first thing I'm going to say is that a high BTU burner is critical to getting it to come out right. Here you see I think this is called the Bayou Classic. I bought it off Amazon for I think like $40 to $50. It's hooked up to a propane tank just like you would use for your grill. I'm doing this out in the garage because it gets rather smelly and you don't want to bring a propane tank into the garage. I've got a wok up here that's very well seasoned. It's been used quite a bit. It's a 14-inch wok. I bought it online. If I were to go back and buy it again, I probably would step up to a 16 or 18-inch wok because it's a little small to cook for more than like 3 or 4 people at a time. Got my table here. Put a little pad underneath here. Propane tank's hooked up. I'll fire this up in a little bit. But I think it's worth kind of mentioning that. The first few times I tried cooking, I tried it on my gas stovetop inside. Did not work well. The BTUs of the gas stove inside were not high enough. And it took me a little while to actually figure out that that's what was kind of making it come out mushy. You need something that is just flaming jet hot to be able to get the dish right. So, unless you have a professional quality, like 20,000 plus BTU burner in your house, I would highly suggest getting a setup like this. So I want to say I paid like $30 for the wok, $50 for that, and then there's propane. So the equipment will pay for itself after half a dozen times to cook in this dish versus going out and buying it, if you're a big drunken noodle fan like we are. It also is a good setup for other stuff. I've done fried rice, I've done pad see ew, I've done other kinds of Thai dishes. But drunken noodles is still our favorite. So I'm going to take a pause here, and I'll take you inside and show you some of the specialty ingredients and what to look for those specialty ingredients. All right, so I'll go over the recipe later, but really all we have here are white onion. I use cherry tomatoes cut in half. This is the mixture of black soy, sweet soy, fish sauce, and oyster sauce. This is the Thai basil all cut up and ready to throw in. This is just some garlic that's been through a garlic press, sliced Serrano peppers, a couple of eggs. Jet Tila's recipe calls for like peanut oil or vegetable oil. I like to use sesame oil. I think it tastes better. Oyster sauce is pretty easy to find. You can probably find that at your normal grocery store. The two ingredients that are kind of misleading are sweet soy sauce and black soy sauce. This is not normal soy sauce. You have to go to a specialty place to buy that. And I buy these big bottles. They're 21 ounces. I think you end up using more black soy sauce than sweet soy sauce. So, you know, I always kind of buy them when I go to refresh. I always buy them like 2 to 1. I always get some really good quality, authentic fish sauce. Fish sauce is vital. And then the thing that always makes me have to go back, because it's a fresh ingredient, you have to get Thai basil. It just does not taste right without Thai basil. As far as protein goes for the dish, you can use chicken, beef, pork, or my wife and I we really like to use seafood. So tonight I'm going to be making it with shrimp and scallops. And then for the rice noodles, I get these guys. They're rice flakes. They're about 2-inch square. One bag is enough to make enough for, you know, probably about 3, maybe 4 people. I think tonight I'm going to use 1.5 bags. I think I'm making a little bit more than a single batch. But anything that you can find that's kind of similar to this, I would stay away from the skinny noodles. It kind of gets away from the spirit of Drunken noodles. Try and find these. If you can find the ones that are fresh and kind of in a long sheet that you can cut up, that would be even better. I buy these in bulk and I keep them in the basement. They keep for a long time, and all you got to do is boil water, throw them in, and then let them sit in the hot water for about 10 minutes, and then they're ready to throw into the wok. So the specialty ingredients that you have to get from a specialty store, these guys, good quality fish sauce, not the stuff you buy at Safeway or Giant or whatever, black soy and sweet soy, and then of course the Thai basil. Everything else you can kind of get somewhere else. I don't know, Serrano peppers, depending on your heat index, maybe you get those at at like an Asian market also, but I'm able to actually find these locally here in Virginia. All right, so we're going to go ahead and fire up the burner and get cooking here. My wife is getting the noodles ready. So I'm going to go ahead and put some fire. You can kind of tell just by the sound of it, that's a burner. That's a burner like the professional chefs use. That's enough to actually get the wok as hot as it needs to be to actually do this recipe. Alright, so you can see my wok is starting to get really hot. A little smoke coming off of it just from the oil that I keep on it while I store it. Wipe some of the excess off there. All right, so the order of ingredients on this is very important. I'm going to throw my sesame oil in. You don't need a whole lot, just enough to kind of cover, at least for this wok, just to kind of cover the flat part of the wok. First thing we're going to throw in is garlic. just going to stir that up and just hit it just for a second, just to get it nice and brown. Then we'll throw our eggs in. I need a little bit more oil, so I'm going to throw a little bit more oil in. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. Next we're going to throw in our onions. I'm going to stir everything up, let the onions get nice and seasoned. By the way, most woks are carbon steel, so you don't have to worry about using metal utensils on them. Alright, there we go. So the onions are starting to already turn a little translucent. That's where we want them to be. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my protein in. I actually use quite a bit of meat in my recipe. I probably have about 1.5 pounds of seafood in here. And, you know, I think a lot of the recipes for Thai food, at least for American tastes, are pretty light on protein. I like a lot of meat in my dishes. So, you know, you can scale this as you see fit. But I like seafood in every bite. Kind of keep tossing it. You can see the shrimp are already starting to get a little pink. It's due to the high BTUs. The scallops are already turning a little white. This is definitely an active cooking process. Do not step away from this thing. Every now and then I kind of make a little hole in the middle. Give the juices a little chance to run down, boil off. Get an idea, even though I've added a whole bunch of stuff to this this wok so far, it is still extremely hot because of the BTUs. The shrimp I used in here is actually tail on, just because I had them in the freezer. Normally, if I'm going to go out and have free reign at the grocery store, I'll buy tail off shrimp fresh and throw it in. But the only reason I'm using tail on shrimp is just because I had it in the freezer. Come on out, honey. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and dump it right in. So my wife is coming out now with the rice noodles. We're going to dump those in.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't want to mess up the Teflon pot. Hold on.
You want me to do it?
Yeah. Okay. Alright, so the rice noodles are now in. Gonna go ahead and kind of mix them up. It's okay to chop them up a little bit as you're mixing. Alright, now that the rice noodles are in and incorporated, we're gonna throw in the sauce. That's the soy, fish sauce, oyster sauce mixtures. Get that mixed up. Get the sauce incorporated throughout. You can see it's starting to kind of get that traditional. Yeah, that's looking more like it. Okay. That's kind of what you expect to see from some drunken noodles. You can kind of see why I use the amount of protein that I do. Seems like a lot, but when it's mixed in with everything else, it actually turns out to be, in my opinion, about the right amount of protein. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and throw the peppers in. Going to get a little of the remaining sauce in there. And I kind of wait until right towards the end to throw the tomatoes and the Thai basil in. I think the Thai basil is best in there fresh. And the tomatoes don't really, they're just kind of there to add flavor and juice anyway. They don't really need a whole lot of cooking, in my opinion. You can see this very active cooking process here. If you let it sit too long, it'll burn on the bottom of the pan or on the wok. So be vigilant. Alright, I think we're in the home stretch here. Time for some tomatoes. Stir those up. I can already see the skin wrinkling on the tomatoes. They cook very quickly, especially with how hot everything is. All right, then the finishing touch, the Thai basil. And this doesn't really need to cook. It just needs to incorporate, kind of get wilted, and then it'll add its own flavor as you eat it. Whew. Whoa! All right, little camera mishap there. All right, we are done. There you go. Giant pot of seafood drunken noodles.
Carlos, like you. Wimps.
One last thing, Thai red chilies and fish sauce. Dice them up, throw them in a container, and then you can sprinkle them on top of your Thai food, and it's awesome.